Welcome, survivors, burnout community, and those just interested. It's Kelly Bubolz, trainer, author, speaker, and your burnout prevention mentor. Burnout is not taboo. It's our reality in this chaotic, fast-paced world. But we're not going to let it drive the narrative to our stories. We're going to do something about it. So let's dig in. We're going to dig into topics every week to stay with the modern day workforce, to keep up with ever-changing times. If you haven't connected with me on other social media channels, I hope that you do that as well, because I only put video content out here on the YouTube channel. If you haven't already as well, sign up for my newsletter where we give insights on the workforce energy management system, habits and tools right into your email box. So in today's topic, let's talk about team energy. There's different types of team energy that feed the need of energy. So it can de-energize or it can energize a team. And what this means is, as an individual, you will have a certain energy. As a company, you will have a certain energy. But the team, the people you work with closely, will affect you day to day. And the different types of energy will affect stress. It will affect productivity. So there's people that want to move into certain teams. There's people that want to move out of certain teams. And it's pretty crucial to make sure that we check that team energy to make sure that we're feeding it in the right direction. Productivity, less stress. It's good for a leader to take a pulse on this often with their team, to know when to step up and when to step back. If your team is thriving, it's energizing with each other, there's no need for you to step in. Let them run. Let them take autonomy in the direction that they're headed. Now, if the team seems to be slightly dysfunctional, communication's dragging on, projects are dragging on, there's dropping the ball in different areas of the process, then it's time to step up. And so I work a lot with leaders in the development programs on when to step up, when to step back. A piece of that is getting a pulse on your team energy. Now, it can be a challenge when to push and pull. And really, I'm just going to bring insights on some behaviors that you can observe in your team to gauge that energy. And then I'm going to give you some tools on how to assess it so that you can focus your efforts in that specific area. Now, at any point in time, a leader has a million things to do on their list for the company, a million things to do on their list of initiatives that they want to strive for, and then they also are leading their team. So we want to make sure that we're using some kind of assessment and observation so that we're focusing our efforts back towards energy in that area and not on everything, because otherwise you're just kind of shooting in the dark. So the type of energy that I want to focus on today, at least in this short period of time I have with you, is the 3 areas that you can affect in your team. So you certainly can't go home with people, you can't fix their personal problems, but you can take a pulse in these areas and observe some behaviors to help them reroute. Everyone knows when you're in a difficult season of life or need some support, that work can break you, that you can gain this like resentment and this poison that they added more in a time of your life that you didn't need more, you needed less. Or vice versa, you're ready for more and the company hasn't been responsive in giving you more. So here's some great ways to observe this. So physically, is their body capacity able to perform tasks? And what I mean there is not the physical nature of the job, but the physical energy of them. When it gets in, I'm from the Midwest, so when it gets into the winter months and people get sick a lot, are you navigating and adapting around that? When they're coming back to work after being sick, they're still not well. We all know that people show up to work when they're not well, and you're overloading them. You're giving them more. Or can it wait a week? Can it wait a couple days until they are physically well to take on more work? Because physically, if they're not well, they're not going to be well in the other 2 areas that we're going to talk about. But physically, if they're going through something, they're distracted, they're not on point, they're not going to give their best quality work. So physically, where are they at? Individuals of the team. Other team members can take on the load if it's more urgent. Otherwise, can we give them a couple days to recover? So physically, where are people at? At any point in time, someone's going to be at a different season of life. So honor and give grace to that. If they aren't coming up to speed eventually, that's a conversation you can have. But we want to make sure that we're honoring people where they're physically at. So a main tool that I found in HR and helping the leaders navigate this is absences or frequently run down. And it's pretty apparent when they stop engaging in meetings. They talk a little less than they used to. They used to have ideas and input, and now they're just kind of sitting back and listening. Again, if all these behavior factors are leveling up to physically, they're getting drained, then it's time to reroute. What's their workload? Are you adding too much new? Are you adding learning on top of that? Because learning can be physically exhausting as well. So make sure that we're gauging that. I see this mostly in emerging leaders. So you want a basic high performer, that's usually who gets promoted, to go to a leadership position in people. It's a whole different game. You don't have as many variables in your control. When you talk about product, when you talk about process, when you talk about different type of software, you can control a majority of those variables. People, you only have 50% of control because they own the other 50%. That can get exhausting. So when emerging leaders are stepping into these type of positions, they are getting extremely drained because they're learning new tools. Hopefully they're given tools and training. Then they're learning their people are testing them. They're learning how to manage and navigate this new world, but we're not giving them space to do that. They also have to take on everything else as part of the position. So the greatest way to address the physical drainers of that is to just give them bite-sized pieces. Have a plan. So if you know they have to step into this leadership position in 6 months, 12 months, every month they should be getting a bite-sized piece of that, not here's the whole plate. Try to digest it. The most successful leaders that I've seen step into these roles have been giving bite-sized pieces so they can practice and play with it, get better at it, add more, get better at it, and add more. So be just aware of the physical nature of how much the workload can be draining people. The next behavior that you might be seeing is on the emotional side. So this is unable to manage emotions. They're unable to articulate. These are your smilers. Everything's fine, and you know they got stuff going on at home. You know that their project might be not going well or on time or over budget, and emotionally they just keep saying they're fine. They are also navigating quite a bit and not expressing it. They might not be asking for support, and this is a key factor that I want you to watch for, because in most cases, this is your high performers. They do not want to show a sign of weakness, so they will not communicate such weakness. They will not ask for support because they think it's weak. And so we need to coach our people that it is emotionally okay to express for support, that they need help or they need some backing from certain individuals. Certain individuals aren't showing up to their meetings. Again, that support goes a really long way. Now, the thing about this emotional sector is that it will influence the rest of the team. Have you ever had that crabby team member and it just like, the whole meeting gets disjointed? You have that team member that is just a grouch and it affects the team morale. So again, honor certain seasons of people's life where they may be grouchy, they may be in a bad place, help and support them through that. But if it continues and becomes a poison, that's where now you address the behavior. So make sure that team energy is not affecting it in a negative manner. I think it's great in a positive manner when people are getting overwhelmed and they express it to the team can reroute. And again, we're giving that autonomy back to them driving their time and workload. And so it can be a positive nature if that trust and communication and collaboration is there, which we work through in the workforce energy management framework. Emotionally, how you can kind of regulate this with your team is make sure during one-on-ones you're giving space for this. Leaders like to stay in the comfortable with project check-ins. How's your task? How's your workload on a very, very low level of communication? We want to get up that communication pyramid into rapport in which they are expressing that they need help. They are comfortable and feel that psychological safety to ask for support. And that will keep from emotional outbursts. That will keep from that gossip where they tell you one thing in your one-on-one, but then they go over to their coworkers and they say something else. You want to make sure that connection is really strong so that the communication is coming through on the emotional scale. The last one is on the mental side. So this is when people are on point, They're making one task to the next, making a decision to the next. They're really focused, critical thinking. And now they're just not as sharp. They're just not on it as much as they used to. That's the mental side. So that might be they have inability to focus because there's too much on their plate. There's too many distractions. Everything's hitting the fan. You might have to reroute some workload. That might be that they're usually the critical thinker of the group, and they're just seeming a little off lately. And they just seem like they're in a roadblock, like they can't create new solutions. And this starts to affect the innovation of the group, the forward moving of the group. And as we talked about in other videos, this world is going to continue changing at a very fast pace. So that can be death of the team if you stop innovating new solutions. So some tools that you can observe is shifting some of those tasks so that they're not so bogged down and they can come up for air. We all know when we get space, we get more creative. When we get space, we can think. We have time to think and breathe. And that takes us from that stagnant state into progress. The other thing that I recommend for just people's mental state is getting them into their community of their trade. So that might be going to trade shows. That might be going to conferences. That might be going to they're inside their trade, like their community groups. So like I'm part of an HR group, and that just like re-energizes me with new ideas. Getting them out of your own company, out of those cinder blocks, out of their homes, and connecting with people in their trade or in their industry will help that energy kind of thrive and get them out of that stagnant zombie state. Now, what's interesting is it's compound. So, mentally, if things aren't going well, they're in this stagnant state, most likely, so not all the time, but most likely, emotionally, they are not processing things. They're not asking for help. They're not asking for support. They're not asking to shift some workload. And the first kicker is physically. Physically, things are not going well. Now, it can be interchangeably where, cognitively, on that mental side, you're getting overloaded. So now it's affecting your physical state. You're getting sick more. You're getting chronic headaches. Mine got so severe, like my hair was falling out. I was having skin issues. And then it was affecting me emotionally. So they're interchangeable, but we all know if physically you are not well, you're sick, for example, you got a bad head cold, emotionally you're not well, you don't want to deal with people, you don't have patience. Everyone might be annoying. And of course, mentally, you're just not thinking straight because like your head is so bogged down by this head cold. So physically, we really need to be focusing on our workforce, where they're at and the signs that are there, because it is affecting, regardless, the emotional and mental sectors of your decision making, of your team energy, of the motivation, productivity. So let's just be aware of these three behaviors, because I think in the workforce, in the traditional sense, it's, did you do your work? Was it quality and quantity of my expectations? And then we check it off the box. But we can maintain this high productivity level if we maintain the team energy. And each individual affects another. So we need to make sure we're supportive of people's different seasons of life. And certainly if those seasons start affecting the team in a very negative manner over a long period of time, we can do some behavioral correction. Now, I want to talk about team energy assessments, because you can really make this your own. This is just an example that I have worked with clients on to get a pulse. You've seen HR surveys that are based around benefits, comp, do I have the tools for the job? But let's talk about the team energy, because you can really get some skeletons out of the closet and fix it, clean it up, organize it, and make it super efficient when you talk about team energy. The 5 factors that I like to focus on with clients is basic human behavior of if they feel psychological safety to speak up when things are going wrong or when they might have an idea. Do they feel trust in their team so that they can take PTO, or that they can call them out on something maybe they disagree with, or maybe they're going around the process? Again, this is how we get workload off of leaders, is because the team is managing their energy. The leader's just stepping up and stepping back when they need to. A good way to do this is you're most likely having department meetings, hopefully once a month, for check-ins. Again, it's focused on process and products, but we want to make sure that we're also focusing on team energy. So this is a good check-in that you can do once a month. It can be an anonymous survey like on menti.com. It can be, just a something in the chat before the meeting begins. If people are comfortable, when that trust and communication gets high, you can verbally say it right there in the meeting. But we want to make sure that we're giving some space to have a check-in on how the team's doing. And again, allow time for the reroute. So you might do this assessment once a month, and then you move on to the other things on the agenda. Give it space to have a slight discussion, because if you get some low scores, let's discuss it right then in real time so we can fix it. What are some actionable steps that we can take now so that next month it's that much better? So here's the 5 factors that I like to focus on. If you get a laundry list, people aren't going to take it, right? They want quick, they want easy. It's a check-in. It's not a giant survey. So it's kind of like a check-in pulse every month. So do they feel like they are contributing to the team? Do they feel like they're contributing to the company? Or are they just in this like minutia of do, and they feel like they're not providing value? Again, that's important for human behavior and preventing burnout, that they're providing value in their skill set. How's the workflow? So this is in processes across departments. This is in processes across people within the team. How is that workflow being optimized? Does it feel like it's kind of clunky, like they're losing productivity? Are they finding files all over the place? Are people communicating all over the place? Again, productivity waste. How's that workflow? Because again, we're searching for optimizing that workflow in workforce energy management. So again, they should probably grade that. Focus. Are they able to focus? Do they have time to focus? Are they doing time management? Are they doing time blocking and really focusing on the priorities for the week? And is that aligned across everyone in the team? So focus. Alignment we just talked about, and then productive. Do they feel productive? There are weeks that go by where people don't feel productive because more and more ends up in their email list, more and more ends up on their plate. And again, we're trying to also prevent burnout in an ever-changing world that keeps adding more. So a productive manner means they're able to do something and get it off their list. They're able to do something, get it to the next level, get it to the next step. So we want to make sure that people are having that progress. When you think of your favorite team that you've ever had, it is most likely a hit in the mark on all those 5, right? People are able to contribute and speak up. They're able to focus. They're able to provide value. So team energy is where we can learn to step up and step back and let our team start managing their workload, optimizing it, being productive, manage their time so that we can spend time on larger initiatives, so we can spend time leading our people. And doing this pulse doesn't take much time. It's the work that comes out of it. And if you're willing to commit to this, if the team is willing to commit to it, you're excited for the day. I hope you enjoyed this session where you can regain from this blah state back to energy, where you can guide your team back to exciting days and passion and enjoy this life that we're living. But in order to do that, we're going to have to think different.
I know you're not lazy. Most people in burnout are high performers, those serving others before themselves. Don't discount this step today, the action in which you focus on your self-growth. Piecing together the puzzle is half the journey. Rediscovering yourself, energy, and establishing new habits is the other. Do not underestimate the untapped inner strength inside you. Explore more resources on my website to move from zombie mode back to liveliness. See you soon.